Hey everyone, this is Dan, the GM, bringing you episode 161 of What the Dice. I'm going to keep this short, I'm going to keep this sweet. All I have to say today is you should join our Discord. You can find those links and much more on any of our social medias, which we use at What the Dice Pod. And that covers our Twitter, our Blue Sky, our Facebook, our YouTube channel. If you can't find it there, head on over to whatthedice.weebly.com. Links and more will be there. I will shut up and let you get on with this week's episode. Enjoy. We sit in our inn room and look out the window. The city guard have put a curfew in this small little town. Apparently, some thieves and bandits and spies have been noted, and they are trying to make sure that the city stays as safe as possible. It's not above us to sneak out if we really want to. We watch as the city guard make their pass. Opening the door, we make a quick slip out, and then down the field to the storyteller. We can hear the ocean waves, and we can hear the fire as we finally get inside the campsite. Well, me friends. Seems as if you are running just a tad later than usual. I heard a rumor that the guards have put the town in lockdown. Apparently some rogues and thieves and spies are about, trying to figure out weaknesses and what they can do to disrupt trade and whatnot. But that's not really our concern for the night. Our concern are the adventurers. They, too, are trapped in a small town, but this one is filled with Naga, and they are being accused of something that they know not what. They must go around to each of the council members and prove their innocence. So sit back, relax, and hear me tell. In the last episode, you guys woke up in a strange, misty world and began to be interrogated and questioned by some unseen forces. And when you awoke, you realized that you were in the world, city, whatever, of the Naga. Your contact with Naga, with Nari, who began to explain everything that's going on, leaving you to explore the Naga city while she begins to do the work and figure out how to get the council, or a handful of the council, on your side. We left off with a small Naga walking up to you. Well, adventurers, you are very rare here. What brings you to our fabulous city?
Being abducted?
Well, that is not a very fun way to do things now, is it? Well, let me give you the grand tour of our lovely city. If you go to the north, that's where all the fresh markets are. To the south, that's where all the food markets are. And then everywhere else in between are shops and people galore.
Thanks.
Good to know.
Well, I do hope that you are not offended by our council. They are very much sticks in the mud.
Yeah, we gathered that.
Would never have guessed.
The best thing about a stick in the mud is you can always pull the stick out.
I intend to.
You should. I miss when we were able to go up top and trade and barter with the people who came through. It's sad that stopped. Why did you surface dwellers stop that? That wasn't very nice.
Wait, you used to trade with people?
Long time ago.
Just gonna look at the fibulous.
So just so you know, buddy, as far as most of the surface world is concerned, you guys are like a myth or a legend that don't exist.
Well, I
was always told that my sale prices were just unforgettable. So I take that as a compliment. Well, have good meal, time, whatever. Enjoy pulling sticks out. I have things to do. Ta!
Bye?
He begins to quickly slither off.
Kalila just looks confused.
Was that a vote of confidence, or... I'm confused.
You said food was to the south?
I mean, after fighting my brother and those idiots again, I could probably eat.
Well, all we had were rations last night at the campfire, so I say let's go get us a real meal. That way I don't actually rip anybody's heads off.
Oh, you still might do that, I'm sure.
It's a possibility.
Urge to kill rising?
Just maybe not kill, maim. I'm at maiming level.
Alright, so in other words, I should stop you from doing something stupid.
They started it.
No, stop. Please, no. The humanity. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I mean, that's like me going, no, don't explode things as I'm handing you a light.
Oh, we do blow things up really well.
I'm about to blow this council up as she grumbles and heads off for food. She'll probably find some place that smells delicious. I don't really care what.
You find a couple of places that have unique meals, like, desert insects on a kebab. You find some that have like rabbit and things like that on with rice or with some kind of wheat.
The rabbit and rice sounds more appetizing than crispy bugs.
As you walk up to the stall, they happily serve you for a small amount of price, a couple copper at most. And you find that for the most part, people are friendly enough. Most of them question like where you're from, what brought you here. When they hear that you were abducted, they seem actually surprised.
When they show surprise, she goes, how else do your... They mentioned other adventurers. How else do people show up here?
There are a few that say that, they wander in from the desert during a desert storm. There were a few that came falling from an opening that had opened up during a severe storm. Some have actual found maps to get them there. But they said that, they come, they meet with the council, they shop for a while, and then they leave.
Interesting, because, like, where we're from, you guys are like a myth. No one never seen you.
Yeah, you're a race that doesn't exist, and you're in children's stories.
A few of them seem happy that they are in children's stories because of the way you word it. And others are, understanding that, since they do not leave the underground, it's not surprising that they have been relinquished back to myth and lore.
So who has stayed? Has anybody stayed that isn't Naga?
A few say that some have stayed, but mostly found work until they decided that, it wasn't for them. They've had some adventurers stay for several years and some stay for a few months, but eventually everyone chooses to leave because Naga do not find non-Naga appealing enough to marry or have children with.
Yeah, I can see that kind of being a problem.
Yeah.
Freaky snakes.
Freaky snakes, freaky snakes. They're super freaky. Sorry.
So as you sit for your meal and you watch, you do notice a Naga. He is solid black, almost like a viper, and his eyes are red. And you recognize them from the strange mist that you were in just a few hours ago. He is very abrasive and short with everyone he speaks with, and he walks up to you, gives you a aggressive head nod as a greeting, and slithers off.
Kalila is just saying nothing. She'll nod back so not to be rude, but she's saying nothing and just watching his every slither.
He seems like... Well, you know what? No. Give me a perception.
Both of us are just Kalila.
Both of you. You're fine with that?
36.
Defibulous is too busy focused eating whatever it is he got.
That one.
2.
Fair.
This rabbit is very good, and the rice is perfectly cooked.
Ooh, very nice.
Kalila, one of the things you notice as you watch him is he is abrasive, to say the least. Anyone he speaks to, even children, he is very short and to the point with, and he moves with a very purposeful movement, as if everything he does is to show that he is in charge of something.
All right, she'll take note. That way she knows what she's dealing with the council. He's probably going to be her biggest problem, considering he was already rude and arrogant when she met him.
As you are finishing your meal, a smaller banded hooded snake approaches. His eyes are a light green, almost like a lime green, but slightly not so high chroma. He is smaller, not as big as the red-eyed, and he approaches you. You must be the adventurers, Kalila and Defibulous, am I correct?
Yeah.
I am part of the council. I spoke to Nari trying to figure out where you went. I had questions about your adventures, and a few things I actually wanted to ask about the Godsfell itself.
You mean beyond the questions that we're gonna have when we come back to talk to you guys as the council?
Oh, you will not be speaking to the council together. There are several that wish to speak to you independently.
Why is that? Why not together?
The council likes to speak over themselves and murmur to themselves during council meetings, so it is not the best time to get them to actually pay attention. We are all in a mana space, so conversations tend to happen instantaneously. But I actually had questions about the Wind Pearl itself. I had studied the manuscripts about it, and it didn't seem like it was real. But you've seen it.
We have it.
What powers does it possess? I mean, yes, of course, it has to have wind. I mean, that's its name, but how?
She'll look at Defibulous, kind of judging how much information do they give?
Defibulous will kind of stop for a moment, noticing Kalila's looking at him too, but he goes, well, when we found it, I don't know how technologically minded you are, to be fair, but I think the Godsfell was maybe using it for a power supply of some sort. It generated a massive wind vortex that could pick anything up and fling it around at amazing speeds. I mean, really amazing speeds. What else did it do? Lila, what else did that silly thing do?
I mean, it pretty much just created a wind barrier. It's not like we picked it up and tried to experiment with it. We just it was, I guess, being used as some kind of power source, or it was taking power from the Godsfell. I don't think it was sourcing it, because remember, things got better when we removed the pearl.
But the machine was really damaged.
It was, but it could have been taking all of its power source, I guess you could say, so it could do what it wanted to do, which was create that pretty much a tornado.
So it's a parasite. I always had this theory. He kind of pulls a chair out and slithers into it, seemingly ignoring the fact he wasn't invited to sit. I've always had this theory that the bone god's pieces, I guess you could say, the elements he corrupted were parasitic in nature.
I mean, possible, but like after we got a hold of it and we stopped what was going on, it turned back to normal.
It turned back into a pearl, but things got better for the Godsfeld. They had more power systems restored. The snakes were able to come out of their enclosed places and talk to the dwarves, and there was more things that had more power. So
it seemed with all the snakes would have came with us.
Yeah, same here. But he actually might be onto something. Think about it, Fibulus. When we removed the skull and what have you in the swamp, the swamp was purified and got better. When we took the torch, the orcs were no longer, well, at the time, things are a little bit different, but these items are creating
Chaos and mayhem. Yes, that's what I was thinking. They are removing the thing that makes intelligent creatures stable. It's absorbing and amplifying one piece of us.
I mean, that's possible.
He scrambles through and pulls out a small piece of reflective metal, sets it down, and waves a hand across it, and it lights up and begins to play sections of the god spell coming from a out-of-body experience kind of feel. And he goes, you said there are snakes. Now we see these strange rats that are like half there, half not, but we didn't see any snakes. He begins to move the memory back and forth, and you can tell where there were rats. They are fleshy, and you can see them, but then part of them is missing. But you don't see the snakes. You see shadows that are moving around where you know there were snakes, but you don't see snakes.
Fibulus, upon noticing that, he's like, can you pan over to where I'm at?
He waves his hand over, and you see things kind of move around to where it isolates on you.
If Fibulus will study himself, does he see himself, but does he see his rifle that he would be holding?
Yes.
Well, I'm wondering if the idea is that maybe your Wuji seeing stuff doesn't see technology, because the rats are mixed technology and flesh, and then the snakes,
were all technology.
Yeah, those are all tech.
Yeah, they were all mechanical.
He nods and he goes, so the bone god has a way to hide minions that are made of technology?
That part I don't know why you can't see that. I'm not going to touch that theory.
I mean, I use my guns and all that, and I'm good with technology to a degree, but I don't serve the bone god. Maybe it's just your magic doesn't detect it normally.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't see it, but those shadows here and there, they were snakes. They resembled diamondbacks.
Interesting. I'm still more interested in the pearl itself. Like, why? And why a pearl? And why wind? Why and the gods fell? Who, what put it there?
Well,
I have been obsessing over this for years. Like, when I found the original scrolls talking about the wind pearl, I was fascinated. He rummages through his pockets, and you see tiny scribbles of paper with quick sketches, and he pulls out one that is the pearl, but it looks like it has little fan windmill blade kind of design on it. And he goes, "This is what I always imagined it looked like. Something that could produce its own wind. But there's no description of it anywhere. It always talks of a sphere that produces wind, or a pearl of wind, or something just this. The books are just everywhere with it. Mind you, we do find these books buried in the sand, so they could be written by people who have been absorbed all the sun and have gone mad with the sun. But madness and brilliance is the same, different side to the same coin."
Well, it's possible. Where was I going with this?
Oh no, but his sketchbook reminds me of your sketchbook.
Oh, no. He doesn't have a sketchbook. He literally has pockets of sketches.
Okay.
Like, folded up pieces of paper. Some are on parchment paper. Some of them are literally like he is carrying around a flat piece of rock that has sketching on it. Like, he is kind of like just...
If it's a surface, he will sketch.
Right.
Defibus will go. While I'm gathering my thoughts, you really should look into a book. Like, just a blank book so you can put your notes in and keep them all organized.
Very limiting. And I don't have the pocket space. I can fit all my notes in my pockets.
Yeah, but then they get crumpled and distorted, and then your information is somewhat lost.
He waves his hand across the mirror, and you begin to see all of his notes in pristine shape there. He goes, "Why, when I have this beautiful magic?"
Well, I'm saying just in case you ever that magic stops, your mirror breaks, so you have a backup.
I will take that under advisement.
But as for the wind pearl, why it was there, like I said, I almost got the feeling they were using it to fly the god spell, like using it to power it, or using the magic of the pearl to make the thing fly. I don't know. That's a little above my pay grade in technology. But I mean, a spherical shape would make sense for wind because there's no resistance to it.
Didn't you say something about aerodynamic?
Yeah, that word.
So, your thought is that the pearl wasn't parasitic, but symbiotic.
Exactly.
Could give power or take power. I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Interesting. May I see it?
No.
He pulls out a piece of paper and quickly sketches it and slides it in front of you. And does it look like this?
Does it look like a circle?
Yes, it looks like a circle.
A shinier version of that, yes.
It's a large sphere, about the size of your fist.
He nods and he's like, So what do you plan on doing with it? Like, are you going to destroy it, or are you going to use it to power something, or are you going to, like, try to absorb it?
Confidential. We can't discuss what we're doing with it yet.
So you don't know.
Oh, I mean, there's plenty of things we can do with it, and plenty of things I would like to test with it, but I can't say what we're going to do with it.
He gathers up the books and he's like, well, this was lovely. Thank you for the information. I have many things to do and many times to do it in. And he begins to slither off one way, stop, look around, and begins to slither off a different direction.
Interesting.
You know, this rabbit is really good, and the rice is just cooked to perfection.
I was too busy staring at the angry red-eyed snake as she takes another bite of the rabbit to see, does it actually taste really good?
Yes.
You're right. It's well done. You want another serving? I'm still hungry.
Yeah, I could definitely eat something else.
Round 2, please.
As the meal is brought up to you, you begin to notice that There are several of the same colored eyes, and they are congregated into a small section, and it sounds like they are arguing. You can give me a perception check.
36.
38.
Both of you hear your names a couple of times, and they're not looking at you, and they are talking in kind of a hushed tone. But it sounds like they are arguing that what the council and how the council dealt with someone who the ferryman is told to look for, that it was disrespectful. It seems as if these are a handful of the council people that are council snakes, council nagas, whatever, that are on your side.
Kalila will very quietly look at the Fibulas going, should we just pretend we don't hear them, or should we say something?
Well, everyone I've ever noticed around us that talked loudly and then throws our names in without directly talking to us generally wants us to get involved.
So, take our last bites and go over?
Yeah, because, we can't have lunch or dinner without someone interrupting it.
I'll let you take the lead, otherwise I'm just gonna go over there and say what?
Okay. He'll take a couple more bites, clean himself up, pay for his meal, and go interject himself into this conversation.
Kalila will follow, but say nothing.
As you walk up, one of them kind of stops talking and just stares. Their eyes are a slightly pale purple, and they were not one of the councils that had spoken. The others stopped and looked, and they give you a bow as a greeting.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
To be determined. So, out of general experience, when we hear our names being talked about very loudly, like across the room loudly, and whatnot, is generally an indication that someone wants our attention. So, have our attention. So, what's up?
They kind of look at each other and they're like, we were speaking in hushed tones. If you chose to eavesdrop, that is of your own accordance.
Okay, hold on. See, I'm sitting over there eating food. Normally, you can ask her. I paid no attention to people talking to me while I'm eating. Well,
It's true.
well, yeah. Anyway, so I could hear you guys talking loud enough that you actually got my attention and her attention while we were eating over across the room.
Granted, I am a cat and I have better hearing than...
She does have really good hearing. Like, freakishly good hearing. But anyway, so you were talking loud enough that you caught our attentions because you were talking loudly.
It's not like we were trying to eavesdrop. We were actually trying to have a peaceful, quiet lunch
By the way,
to ourselves.
your guys' cook who did the rabbit and the rice, phenomenal job.
Yeah, actually.
Definitely recommend this to people.
They kind of nod and look at each other, and you haven't been exposed to too much heat, have you? You haven't gotten heat sickness, right? You seem to be a little everywhere. But we were debating actually approaching you. We're on your side when it comes to the decision that they want to make.
Which is what?
A few of the council believe that you are the problem and why magic is leaving because of the catalyst that broke. Now, that is only a handful of the council that believe that. We are standing that you cannot hold someone accountable for something they did not see and did not know. You were given a task and you did the task. It's as if telling a child to go put up a spoon and they put it somewhere else. They still put it up. You just didn't specify where. Not that I am comparing you to children or anything. I'm just saying.
Metaphors are metaphors.
Right. And we were discussing on what we could do to help. And we believe that because this will be voted, we are going to try getting all we can to vote with you.
I mean, that's pretty fair.
We also wanted to apologize for the way we got you. The directions from the ferrymen were vague. It just said to acquire you. And having something like us approach you could lead to a fight, and not something we really wanted to do.
Were you able to see our memories before you acquired us? Because the one with the green lime-colored eyes, had visuals of some of our memories about the Godspell and the Wind Pearl. So it sounds like you guys know us better than we realize.
No, so some of our bone casters do inked bones, where they are liquidated and given dye, and they will cast, and it will show us vaguity in very rough pictures. He acquired the memories during that time. Some of us possess the ability to memorize small bits of visual information and record it in our magic. He reaches in, pulls out a small mirror, and swipes it, and you can see the cursed swamp with the jello trees, but it is a still image. I specialize in extraplanar realms, and I was trying to identify this realm. It's not a known realm, so I memorized this one moment because it seems to be the best moment.
Interesting.
I don't believe you guys, that you adventurers were on a known realm.
So far, no.
It seems now, from what we've learned over time and in our studies, if a god or goddess or deity is forgotten, they are cast into the realm of forgotten memories and dreams. That's where I think this is, but I have no proof because there's no way to get to that realm. It is a realm that is beyond the realms. So I think something took you to that realm to get you to release the bone god that way.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
So I feel as if it's clear you didn't do it on purpose, because you literally took the skull and left. You didn't wait to see if it did anything. You dealt with a cursed item and you left.
Which was our goal, to acquire.
Oh, right, but that's why I'm saying I don't believe you did it purposely.
We didn't do it with malice.
Yes, that's the best way to put it, actually.
So how many of these councilmen are there that think that we're doing this for bad reasons? The red eyes. I
Red
already
eyes.
can tell by his nature.
The green eyes.
Which green eyes? We just met one and he wanted to know all about the wind pearl. He didn't seem at all inquisitive of our purpose.
He didn't vote. So we are going to stand by. You still need him to vote for or against you, but he just didn't vote. And that's what's holding everything up. Is several Nari didn't vote, a handful of us didn't vote, and what it does is it stops them from, unless everyone votes, they can't make a decision. But the red eyes, there's a dark green eyes, and then one that didn't speak is yellow-eyed. The yellow one rarely speaks in meetings. I'm not sure how to explain him. He is very quiet in general. We don't even know if he can speak, but he voted against you. but you'll have to convince those 3 to vote for you so that things start to swing more your favor. There are others that are going to vote with who they believe is right, not what the situation entails, because of the strangity of how our council works. Because any one person can step in as a council, so some just default to who they respect the most instead of voting for themselves.
Kalila's just keeping her mouth shut.
One of them looks and goes, your jaw's clenching, Miss Kalila. Is there something the matter?
Somebody deciding that they have the power enough to vote but not making their own educated decision and just basing it off of somebody else does not sit well with me.
It's not a good system, but...
Hence why I wasn't saying anything.
But the thing is, everyone in there was a Naga.
I figured everybody in there was a Naga. And I appreciate your apology. I do take that to heart and consideration.
No, what I mean is any Naga can take the place of a representative. Every Naga was there.
But you have leaders in your council.
Yes.
They have to vote.
Yes.
What matters is their vote, not anybody else's who's going along with them. It sounds like a corrupt political system.
It is. We completely understand that it is. There are some that are carefully watching Nari because she is the religious leader of our city.
So what can we do then to help you help us?
You will have to speak to those 3 council members and convince them your intentions.
Yeah, she said it was going to be a couple hours, hence why we are out having lunch.
Yes, and we feel as whom do you think you would be approaching first? Like, because it's going to be individually, and it's going to be up to you on which route you go.
Well, that's good to know, because that part wasn't explained to us. We just said that we would meet with the council. I thought it would be meeting with all of you guys again, not individually. And now we get to pick who we meet with first?
We want to, the ones who are for you, want to hedge your bet as best we can. So we are going to do everything in our power to let you pick your proverbial battles.
All right. So what do we need to know about why does Red Eyes think we're guilty of whatever?
They exchange looks for a moment, and one of them speaks up.
Red Eyes is in charge of our guards and in charge of keeping us hidden. He is very solid on what he believes should and shouldn't happen. He is the stone wall, per se. He specializes in warfare, and he is the one that has the most interest in why and how you went after the Scepter of Flames and why you dealt with the Red Orc the way you did. Most of this questioning is going to be the why, so you may end up repeating yourself a lot, or the reason you went for that artifact when you did.
All right. What about Yellow?
He doesn't speak. He specializes in the manosphere, dealing with water. He is the one that deals with what made us learn to hide, and he is the one that's learned how to use his magic to create these strange needles that we can use to incapacitate people and to change their memories to forget that we exist. I don't think I've ever heard him speak.
And dark green?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how to explain him. He is very jealous of all the other council members because he is in charge of the minutest things. Like, he has all the small problems that he deals with on a day-to-day basis. If we have problems, we go to him and he has to find a way to solve them. He may be pushing against you just to show he has power.
All right. We've already talked to Nari, and I already guessed that she was being watched. And she's played her card that she's for us. Unless she's lying.
Nari is the one that spoke plainly and kind of pushed against people. She was very much on your side the whole time.
Yeah, purple eyes.
Yes.
So it's just those three, since Nari's pretty much on our side.
Yes, and if you can convince those three, the ones that follow under them will, of course, follow with.
She'll look at Defibulus.
So it sounds like we have lots of discussions to have.
And I'll be biting my tongue a lot.
One of them chimes in, well, you could also just punch Red Eyes. All of us want to do it. The other Naga just stare at him with this, like, really look, and he's like, what?
Don't tempt me because I will. And unless that actually will get me somewhere, don't tell me that.
He just kind of gives a light shrug as if the, like, it might.
Now Clyde's not here to stop me.
No, he's not, but, we remember, you won't let me get to go randomly blowing things up either, so.
No, that was Faye. Can we blow them up?
No? We still kind of need them, and explosions might bring in the roof a little bit, and that roof is hard to repair.
Bring down the house.
Oh, yeah.
So, one way or another, we have lots of talking to do.
At least I'm no longer hungry.
True. We're hangry.
So who do we want to start with then? Green Eyes? Because it sounds like he's just being a little power trip and is a little jealous, and it will be easy enough to convince.
Yeah, might as well work from the least problem to the biggest one.
Which one's the biggest one? The silent one or the Red Eyes?
I'm thinking the silent one. I mean, Red Eyes, it sounds like his entire reason for doing anything is to keep this place safe and not make sure problems don't end up at their doorstep.
Which is easy enough to argue with us. I think we can convince him pretty easily, so then Yellow will be last.
I get the feeling that the yellow-eyed one is probably the best one to talk. Will be the hardest.
I agree.
They nod. And if you are also looking for work, there's also things you could do to help around, which also may curry your favor. Some of it may be, helping in the libraries, but I mean, anything can help, I guess, to help you.
I mean, it's definitely a thought, but I'm not here to do tiny, minuscule work. I'm on a mission to take down a god, but...
Hold on. Maybe actually poking the library could be useful. They seem to have a lot more information that we normally don't have access to.
Alright, that's fair. Plus, Nari did promise that you guys are the ones who are supposed to have information about the items we have acquired, which I found counterintuitive to Lime Eyes inquiring about our item.
So we have scholarly knowledge of it. We have never actually seen the items in person. Lime Eyes, outside of his research area, he is very gator-minded. In his research area, he is very honed at what he needs to decide because of what he does. His studies in the elements, the flow of mana. He has spent a long time studying them. So outside of his world, he is very easily distracted.
Sounds like a few people I know.
Nari is the keeper of the books. If there are books that you need, her library is the most extensive. most of the major council will know of a item or the understanding of what each item can do or should do or how it does in a theoretical sense. I think once you have talked to the specialists for each element, we might be able to help you understand the next step.
Well, there's no real point to figuring out the next step if we're not allowed to leave.
It could be same side. It could be different sides of the same coin on that.
Touché.
Because if you have the knowledge of how to use it for good, you can show that you can be trusted with the item itself.
Makes sense.
So it looks like we're going to be spending the next couple hours in a library.
Better than out in the baking sun?
Yeah, being a black cat in a desert kind of sucks.
The council members that are standing there nod, and they look at you, and
Well, is there anything we can help you with, like information-wise?
The really quiet one, the one you're not sure that smokes, or speaks. What did you say that what does he normally focus on around here?
The needles. The things that knocked us out and wiping people's memories.
Okay, so he eats needles. The angry red guy is your guardian guy, making sure you stay safe and hidden.
Yes.
And the green guy is tiny things. Things that would be considered insignificant, but are probably just as important. So he gets no recognition.
Yes, like he is in charge of making sure that the flameless torches are still working properly. He deals with if we need help moving things around, he gets the people together to do that. He is more of a community leader than a councilman.
Sounds like operations.
Kind of. But Yellow Eyes he deals with strange chemicals of that and of bombs and salves to help cure wounds instead of relying on what we used to rely on, which is magic to heal. Our magic seems to not work in the same sense as the rest of the world.
he waves his hand, and one of the flameless torches goes out. He waves his hand again, and it turns back on.
Gotcha. All right, Kalila, so where should we start first then?
My guess is going back to Nari and going to play in the library, since she is looking back at the group, as they said, the keeper of books.
The keeper of knowledge, yes. She is our religious leader.
After the library, I think we should talk to that what's-it guy.
Yeah, green dude? Dark green eyes?
Yeah, you've got the eyes figured out. But we need to talk to the one with the smaller... The guy who sounds like he's upset and petty.
Dark green eyes.
Yeah, that one.
All right. Hi-ho, it's off to the library we go.
As you make your way to the library, we are going to end this week's episode here.
These Nagas are getting under Kalila's skin so much.
Not my problem.
Well, me friends. It seems as if the adventurers, Kalila and Amphibolus, must fight several bosses, and without relying on steel, but dealing with something new, something called bureaucracy, using their words to deal damage, and have to defeat these bosses, whom stand in the way of them completing their goal. Well, me friends, seems as if whomever the ferryman is He has trained them well. Well, that is all the time we have for tonight. For the moon is high, and it is time for us to say farewell. As always, me friends, may the dice gods bless your every roll.
We here at What the Dice would like to thank Paizo for creating Pathfinder, Epidemic Sound for our music, as well as Sirenscape for our sound effects. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at What the Dice Pod, Twitter at What the Dice Pod, and of course email whatthedicepod@gmail.com. And if you liked our little adventure, please share us with your friends and rate and review us.